On today's episode of Let's Talk Drones, we are covering even more leaks, if you can believe it, on the DJI Air 3. Not everything is sunshine and unicorns, though, in the world of these leaks. Our friend Jasper Ellens at 27 Leaks on Twitter leaked a bunch of information on the spec sheet on the DJI Air 3, and it's got some people up in arms. I'm going to tell you why. We're going to talk a little bit about it and more right here on Let's Talk Drones. What's up? It's Chris, the Drone Geek. And yeah, we've been having this conversation about the DJI Air 3 and the leaks that have been happening over the past few months. Seems like forever, but it really only has been a few months. If you remember, our most recent leak video was about the marketing images that were leaked from DJI. You can go ahead and check that out up here in the corner if you so wish. But if you want to learn more about what the DJI Air 3 will be capable of by looking at these leaked spreadsheets from Jasper Ellens, stick right here and watch the rest of this video. Like I said, some of the information on these spec sheets that Jasper leaked have a lot of people very upset about some shortcomings or perceived shortcomings on this drone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate through the leaked spec sheet images that Jasper shared with us on Twitter. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the pros, the cons, and where people are upset. So let's start here on high notes. There are a lot of pros to be found in these spec sheets. First and foremost, it has been confirmed we will get 2 cameras on the DJI Air 3. Looks like we're going to get a wide angle camera as well as a 3x zoom medium telephoto camera. This will make the Air 3 an extremely versatile aerial imaging tool. Very excited about this and a definite pro for the Air 3. The next pro is the max flight time of 46 minutes. That's on a standard battery, and we don't know if we're going to get a plus battery for the Air 3 like we saw in the Mini 3. Now, if you remember, the Mini 3 gets 34 minutes on its regular battery and 47 minutes on its plus battery. We could see something similar here with the Air 3, but only time will tell. The only information we have is with a standard battery, it will get 46 minutes. Big ups there. It's also going to have an omnidirectional obstacle avoidance system, and of course, let's talk about the camera. It's going to be capable of 48 megapixel photos and 4K at 60 frames per second. Super impressive camera specs there. But arguably the most impressive pro we're going to see from the Air 3 is the switch from the OcuSync 3 system to the brand new OcuSync 4 video transmission system. This will boost the range from 10 kilometers to 12 kilometers or 6.2 miles to 7.4 miles. Now it's time to talk about the cons, and you probably already figured out what the cons are from me by looking at that spec sheet. I found 2 glaringly obvious cons with the Air 3 and the information on those spec sheets. First is smaller of the 2. It is that there's no adjustable aperture on the Air 3. In the wide-angle lens, you'll have a fixed aperture of f1.7, and on that telephoto lens, you'll see a fixed aperture of f2.8. This is the lesser of the 2 cons because this has been consistent in all of the Air drones that DJI has released. They haven't had adjustable apertures, and quite frankly, that's one of the factors that separates the Air from the Mavic series. So I think adding it to the Air series would be kind of silly because you'd risk making some of your Mavic drones obsolete. One of those drones being my Mavic. But the con that really has people upset actually has to do with the sensor size on both of the cameras for the Air 3. In previous leak videos about the Air 3, we've speculated that we're going to get a 1-inch sensor for that wide-angle camera and then a 1/2-inch sensor for the telephoto camera that we were predicting would come on this drone. That is not the case. It seems as though the DJI Air 3 is going to come out with 2 1/1.3-inch sensors. Both the telephoto and the wide-angle lens will have the same size sensor, which has a lot of people thinking, what the hell? Basically, think about it like this. You're going to have 2 DJI Mini 3 Pro cameras on the Air 3. It's odd that they wouldn't keep things in step with the Mavic series. When you look at the Mavic 3, the original Mavic 3 had a 4/3 sensor for its wide-angle camera, and then it had a 1/2-inch sensor for that telephoto camera. Being that the Air is sort of like the Mavic Lite, you'd think that you'd have a 1-inch sensor on the wide-angle lens and then a 1/2-inch sensor, maybe even a little bit smaller, on the telephoto lens. But instead, DJI opted to give both cameras a 1/1.3-inch CMOS sensor, and I think I know why. Because it leaves room for a DJI Air 3S somewhere down the line that will have that 1-inch wide-angle lens and will have a 1/2-inch CMOS sensor for the telephoto camera. When I think back about my predictions for the DJI Air 3, I realized I was a little bit too aggressive. If you look at the way that DJI has released the Air drones, it has been pretty consistent that the first iteration does have a smaller sensor than the second iteration. And if we know DJI at this point, we know if they're going to come out with a DJI Air 3, they're probably going to come out with a DJI Air 3S, which will have upgraded features. So when it was announced that this was going to be the DJI Air 3, I should have figured it was going to go the same direction as the DJI Mavic Air 2, having a smaller sensor, and then its big brother with the larger sensor would come out later down the line. So I apologize if I got anybody too hyped up over the DJI Air 3 in previous leak videos where I speculated on what some of the specs might be for this drone. It was a little too aggressive and maybe careless of me to just assume that's what was going to be packed into the DJI Air 3. And while a lot of you I know are upset that this camera seems to fall short, I want to just reassure you of two things. First of all, DJI has consistently put out high quality products. I mean, I can think as far back as I possibly can remember when it comes to DJI product design, and every time I've been happy with the products that I get from DJI. Heck, I had my reservations about the Air 2S until it saved my life during my trip to Alaska. Not literally, but figuratively. I lost my Mavic 2 Pro in a very unfortunate glacial accident, so I had to go out and get an Air 2S to continue documenting my trip through Alaska, and I was super impressed with the image quality out of that drone. The algorithm that's built into the camera and the processing that's put on the images that come out of it is absolutely fantastic, and I'm sure we'll see the same for the DJI Air 3. That being said, the other thing that can bring us a little bit of comfort by knowing the specs on this drone, even though they fall short of our original expectations, is that we will likely get an upgraded version of the DJI Air 3 somewhere down the line, and I would say it's going to be in the relatively near future. There are two scenarios I could see playing out. First and foremost is the aggressive one. If DJI is super aggressive with the DJI Air 3 and the Air 3S, or potential Air 3S, then I could see them releasing it side by side with the Mini 4 in Q4 of this year. I think that's less likely than the second scenario. This is the more probable scenario. I'd say that they'll release the Mini 4 for the holiday season in Q4. And then to kick off 2024 with their drone releases for the year, DJI is going to introduce the DJI Air 3S. I firmly believe this drone, the DJI Air 3S, will have the 1-inch wide-angle sensor. It will also have a 1/2-inch telephoto sensor. And at the end of the day, no matter how you feel about this particular subject, the specs on that spec sheet, it's just exciting we're getting more drones. There's more innovation, there's more technology, and DJI is going to continue to put out very high quality drone platforms. This is what I'm talking about though when I say be careful before you jump on these purchases initially, because now we know what we're gonna get. And if you rush out and you purchase this drone right away without taking some time to think about it, you may miss an opportunity to get an upgraded version of that drone. Final thoughts. Even though the specs on this spec sheet definitely don't meet what we were predicting initially, I still think this is going to be a great crossover platform for people that fly as hobbyists but want to take a step up in quality and maybe enter the world of Part 107 commercial work or commercial work anywhere in the world that you do it. I think the Air 3 is going to meet those needs, and it's going to produce some really great photo and video content. But what do you think? Are you happy with the spec sheet, or was it a big letdown? Do you plan on running out to buy the Air 3 once it hits shelves, or are you going to wait to see if an Air 3S comes out? Let me know down in the comments below. If you liked this video, hit the thumbs up icon down below. Helps me out a lot, helps get this video out into the algorithm to more drone pilots like yourself. If you really liked this video, you love drone content made by drones, about drones, and for drone pilots, this is the channel for you. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and while you're at it, hit the bell icon too. It'll give you a notification every time I post a new video. Until next time, I'm Chris, the Drone Geek, and I am out of here. See ya.
Yo, what you say? Steady screaming, YOLO.